Hello, my name is MaggieTuttle and I'm the founder of Children Screaming to be Heard, who are the silent witnesses, and here lies the truth. Children screaming to be heard who are being taken into care. And yet, look, we have My Turn to Talk, another book, My Turn to Talk. When are these children allowed to speak or talk? This one says from the age of 11 and this one says from the age of 12. Yet children in care are not listened to at all. And then we come to, I have this is for a Freedom of Information request, and it's from the Ministry of Justice, 14th of November 2013. My Turn to Talk says our governments, and yet here we have on the 14th of November 2013, as of April 2009, because of a change in legislation being introduced by Jack Straw, the Justice Secretary, the media will no longer be able to identify those involved in cases such as the website. It will also be illegal for any children currently to speak out, even if they are being maltreated. So, our turn to talk. They are not allowed to talk, says Mr. Straw. And although many people have said to me in governments, oh yes, but it really isn't a law. Well, isn't it? Then how come I got this on the 14th of November 2013? Are you worried? These are all sent out by the NSPCC. Are you worried about a child? Oh yes. The population is becoming more and more concerned, even more and more worried, knowing of the child abuse and the paedophiles in governments and high places. And nothing gets done. And still, children can't talk. And as we know, there's so many children who are out of the system now who were sexually abused by paedophiles, all covered up for many, many years. And as one Kafkas lady said to me, oh Maggie, all children in care tell lies and none of them know what they want. That says it for the system, okay? But as I say it says it for the system, I will say that there are some good social workers, and there are also some very good foster carers. But by God, we need a lot more to cover up the ones that they're so bad. They're really, really bad. So let's take a child now from the parents. So the child, whatever age, is taken into care. Now, if a child is of a readable age, and My Turn to Talk, let's say, they are normally given a book on adoption or fostering, so they can read all about being adopted or being fostered. I do have these books, but however, these children, many children are left with adoption and fostering. And many of the adults from the care system said, you know, Maggie, it's so very, very confusing. You know, because we thought we were being taken into care and then going back home to our mums or dads. Never happened. So children are taken into care. For the contact, for the families, it's sort of a no-go. Because My Turn to Talk doesn't happen for these children, because what happens in contact, they get supervised contact. And they may get 1 hour in a little tiny room, tiny room, with a woman sitting in front of you, writing everything down of what you're saying to the child. So that child can never speak out. My turn to talk, even supervised contact, no way. So these children are completely shut up, closed down. Then we have parents are fighting for their children, really fighting for their children, going through the courts. And what we find via the helpline is parents throughout this country all say that in their written reports from the social workers, it states coming to contact, when contact is due, the child becomes disruptive, or the child will wet and mess himself or herself. And we do not think that contact should continue. Now, if you just had one parent reporting the child is wetting and soiling their panties, whatever, then you think, okay, it's just one. But it's not. There's hundreds and hundreds of cases, thousands of cases out there, but we don't get to hear the thousands, but we do hear many. So, into court, well, the child is soiling himself and is very disruptive coming to contact, and the child is this and the child is that. No contact for the parents or the family. And those parents cannot publish what's happened to them, because there's a lot of parents who deserve to lose their children. And believe me, I've seen some wicked, wicked mothers and fathers. And yes, they deserve to lose. But there's a hell of a lot of children. More children are being taken into care who should not be taken into care. And even for children, let's say they're from the bad families, there's still good grandparents there who could give them a home. But, as we know, grandparents have no rights. And grandparents never get the children. And these grandparents are then sent to their graves, to their deaths, never to see the seeds that they planted, the seeds of love. And they'll never see those children growing up. These grandparents die. Most of them die, never to see those children again. And so, contact again, coming back to contact. When it's all going through the courts, and this can go on for many, many years, in and out the courts all the time. And what happens is, the social workers will say, you have to have mediation, or you have to see a psychologist, or you have to see a psychiatrist. And at the same time, you're having all these assessments done, different assessments. It's money, 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 money in the system, as Professor Jane Ireland pointed out 2 years ago, I think it was. And she's under attack by the HCPC now. However, so all these assessments will continue and continue for many years, because it's millions of jobs actually in the system. So they need to take the children. And my turn to talk, no child has any right, because there's too much going on in the system with child abuse. In every single way, child abuse. And a child is totally unfit, they can never speak out. Now they're saying, oh, well, Simon Hughes has said that children from the age of 10 should be able to speak. Children in the age of 10 can't come out and speak anywhere, because they're on their own, they're surrounded by an army, they're told what they must say, the same as the families. They're told, when you have contact, you're not allowed to give affection, you're not allowed to do this or that. Coldness. So, families it's just a coldness all the way through. So more assessments, more assessments. Simon Hughes has said now children from the age of 10 can speak in the court. The child will come to court, let's say, if speak out, or he or she will speak out, then that child is sent back for the minute, let's say, to where they're living. And they're in fear, they're terribly in fear, and so they're sent back in fear, knowing damn well that someone's going to say, oh well, Robert, you should not have said that, darling. You should have said what we told you to say. No child has any rights whatsoever. And don't you ever, anyone in the government, tell me, yes they do. If they do, then why do I get the reports of what's happening? Why do I get the written reports of the social workers? And I've always said to government, the truth is with the nation. We are on the ground floor. We know what's going on. Not them up there. And we are being accused. Well, what do they call us? The plebs. Yeah, the plebs. take the children from the plebs. What can they do? Well, we are beginning to rise up slowly, but we are rising up. I mean, what's happening? It's not only children here in the UK. If you look at the map behind me, children worldwide are being trafficked, abused, sold throughout the world. But nobody in this world realised that it was happening in dear old Britain. Wonderful Britain. No kids are abused in Britain. Britain has been abusing children from dot. I mean, they trafficked children from other parts of the world. It's all actually on the website of childrenscreamingtobeheard.com. And there's a lot of research there, so you can sort of sort out what you want. But the contact for children, no. None whatsoever, only that odd contact. Then you have grandparents or even parents have told me. Social workers have called me up and said, your children or your grandchildren don't want to have contact with you anymore, which is so hurtful, very hurtful. And the parents or the grandparents say, well, why? And the social workers don't have to give an answer. And as one grandparent was told by Ofsted recently, after 1 year of them investigating the social workers, social services, they said to this grandmother, yes, they are very wrong in what they've done and said, but unfortunately, there's nothing more we can do because social services are a law unto themselves. And that is the truest words I'll ever speak in my 71 years. They are a law to themselves. Because also remember, they're not only ruling our children. Wherever you go in this country, you can go to the prison, the educational department, doctors, wherever. Social workers are involved in everyone's life in a roundabout way. Look at the elderly people. Down to the social workers, having them put into care homes, live on their own. What about this new telephone line set up by Esther Ransom? So you can call, so the elderly can call this helpline. It's like Childline. Childline, children used to phone Childline, where are you? And in came the paedophiles. And that is very well known amongst the homeless people in the city of London, because I've been there filming. And so now these elderly people can call this freebie helpline. Oh, hello, Mavis. How old are you? Do you own your house? What is wrong with you? Whatever. And it goes on. And then one day in walks the social worker, the elderly lady's put into a care home and the house is taken. And this is what's happening to our children as well. They're walking in and stealing the children. But some children need to be taken into care, but not en masse like they're doing now. It's scandalous. So for children having contact, there is none. And when it says my turn to talk, that is an absolute joke. Children have no voices, none whatsoever. Many social workers in this country, whilst they're working with social services, they're getting paid. And as they're getting paid, they're taking the children, stealing many of the children. More backhanders, so wages, backhanders. But many of these social workers have their own companies registered at Companies House to do assessments or supervision or many other things, all to do with a child in care. So, private social workers, for hearings or whatever. Now that is a conflict of interest. These social workers, even if the social worker hasn't got his or her own company registered, then they can still use one of their colleagues' outside companies. That is a conflict of interest. Now let's go to the judges and a lot of the legal people in the fostering and adoption agencies. Now, I was sent the information on Anthony Douglas, who's the chairman, I think, of the CAFCAS. he is one of the directors of Fostering and Adoption Agency. Now, he can't do that, not if he's the head of Kafkas. Because in other words, if he's got shares in Core Assets or BAF, whichever one it is, then he could be saying to all these Kafkas women or men, put the kids into care, put them into care, because he's going to get more money, isn't he? Conflict of interest. How many judges have shares? This is something that needs to be investigated, because I am aware of one judge who looks at the children, and the ones he likes, they go to a certain place, and then he has his way with them. And there was a certain police officer, who was put in to check it all out, and he suddenly died. How amazing that these police officers keep disappearing or dying, and same as with other people who are blowing up paedophilia in governments. So yes, that's all a conflict of interest. And the same with the judges and some of the legal people. They need to be checked out. Lawyers. Now let's go to the lawyers in the courts. All these children, My Turn to Talk, they are given a Kafkas officer and a solicitor from the court. And these two work together. Do they work together? Oh yes. The child they send into care, they're not the voices for those children. The only person, I'm going to finish now, and I'm going to say the only person who can stand and tell the truth to the world are these children who are being stolen, taken into care, millions and millions of pounds being made from them. They're the only ones who can stand up and say, my turn to talk. And children are not liars. And they do know what they want. So the Kafkas officer again was wrong. Kafkas are so disgusting. Thank you.